Wow. So we're live again. Welcome everyone. And today's topic is kind of kind of like, it's been pushing me for a while, and I decided, hey, why not? You know, let's take it out there and start to talk about it. So, technology, my brothers and sisters, technology. I'm excited to talk about technology and its correlation to the rise of the African continent and African people. I am so glad to talk about this because one, I'm a sci-fi fan. Believe it or not, I'm a sci-fi fan. I love um, everything about scientific research, science fiction, science facts, um, astrophysics, astrology, and all that, the study of the universe and all that. So, um, I am one unassuming person that you would meet, and you ask me anything about, you know, black holes, about the universe, about wormholes, about, white holes, about dark energy, dark matter. And though I've never studied physics, I'm able to tell you about it. Um, Not because I get interested in these things, not because it's cool or it's kind of like, yay, nice to know stuff. Well, it's nice to know stuff, but what this shows is that, you know, I'm looking at the West investing millions and millions and millions of dollars in this sector, space exploration, going to the moon, um, you know, going to Mars and, studying the solar system. I think just recently, Voyager 2 was able to reach the outer heliosphere and was able to communicate information to Earth that there's actually a firewall, you know, a massive, massive, massive firewall between our observable solar system or our galaxy, and outer space, out there. And what research? I'm saying this and headed somewhere that scientific research, is what will take us to the next level. But that is the area that we are not talking about. That is the area that we are not even discussing with our kids, you know, at our forums, after school programs for our kids. And sorry, I think the network, wobbled a bit. We meet and we talk about after school programs, and we talk about entertainment, and we talk about the arts, and we talk about the fun. But are we really talking about what we need to face the challenges of the 21st century? What we need as Africans? You know what? We should never, 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 we should never forget that technology was the reason why the slave trade was so successful and persistent, and, to precisely to the target. And we would fool ourselves to think that when we just return to the motherland, then that will be it. As a people, we have to start asking ourselves what is important to us. You know, In all my life, I've been watching movies. Um, hey, viewer, I see there's a silent viewer. You, I have look, guys. I have a silent viewer who comes online, doesn't say anything, and just stays and doesn't say a word. Um, but he's the first to come, and I see you. If you're here and you are you are enjoying what I'm doing, you're enjoying the conversation, please just write something, let me know. But I see you're there, and I'm glad you're here because we can talk. um Technology is the reason why certain people or certain aspects of society, certain tribes and certain cultures have been at the top of the food chain. Abdul Majid. So you're the one. Okay, thank you for saying hi because I've always seen you're here with me, and I'm really happy that you keep coming and you keep talking. Sorry, listening and being part of the conversation. So please, I'd definitely like to hear your thoughts on this topic. Let me see if you are a science, for a sci-fi fan like myself. And okay, so because I'm into science fiction, like I love to Star Trek. I love everything concerning science and science possibilities, that I think there's a need for us to be talking about it and for young Africans to be talking about it because to begin with, we have problems within our society that requires scientific knowledge to resolve. The time of the ancestors, it has come. In that age where our ancestors were, on top, I'm talking about all the way back to ancient Egypt. It was a mythical age. It was a magical age. And, they scored it so high. Sorry, I need to attend to this. Hello, hello. Okay. So I need to call this person back. That's my brother, though. I need to call my brother back. But after the video. Yeah. Okay. So those were spiritual times, and those were times that our ancestors scored it big. They scored big because um they had figured out, they had been able to tap into the spiritual side, their, like, inner spirits, and kind of like connected it to nature, you know, connected it very kind to nature. So because I'm busy with work, I'm a Ghanaian working in Dubai. Hey, Abdul Majid, I've lived and worked in Dubai too. So this is fantastic. Thank you for coming here because I just feel like Dubai too. So I guess maybe later we can discuss the situation of Africans living and working in Dubai. So welcome. So I just feel like in those ancient days, our ancestors were able to like connect to nature, because that was the age we lived in. It was a mythical age. It was the age of the gods. It was the age of the spiritual. It was the age of magic. It was the age of faith, belief, and people gave their lives for this concept of living. And when I would fast forward to when the first slave ships arrived on our beaches, on our shores. The thing is that although we still had some form of technology that was working for us, we were content with the kind of technology we had, and we hadn't really researched and tried to advance our technologies. And that is what scored big for the West, because the difference between them and us at the time was that they were researching their technologies, they were improving their technologies, they were advancing their technologies. And what were we doing down here? We were praising ourselves, we were content, and we didn't push, we didn't establish institutions, we didn't formalize, we didn't like kind of put a structure in place to push technology. Technology has a local name, a local Ashanti name, and I'll tell you about it. The name of technology in Akan language is Abodemunyansape. That's my daughter, Kylie. Hi, say hi to everyone. Yeah, okay, Kylie, I'm having a uh, session, so I'll call you later, okay? Yeah. So it's called Abodiemunyansape. That's a scientific research. Abodiemunyansape. It means creation, the wisdom, you know, searching for wisdom within creation. And that is how our ancestors, you know, termed this. So if it has a name in our language, it means it's always been a part of us. And we sat in there and allowed a technology like gunpowder to give so much leverage to the West that when they came to decimate our homes, tear apart our families, how how were we able to stop them? Could we stop them? Could we stop them? So it's high time, yes, we understand that, we are at the bottom of the food chain, and nobody wants us to leave there, because who wants to be there when we leave? If we don't tell ourselves, if we don't, you see, I get passionate about the sleeping giant, Africa, because of children like my daughter, Kylie. Kylie, I don't want perfume. Okay, I don't want perfume right now. So I'm having a conversation. So please try not to disturb me. Thank you, darling. So if we sit around, and I'm a bit thrown off, but all I'm trying to say is that technological research is like here, and we are like here. The rest of the world is like pushing right up there, and we are like here. Because as I was telling you, like when you hear about some of the scientific theories and the research that these scientists are doing, and they're putting the information out there, when you try to talk about it, it sounds like you're like maybe deranged or something to people who don't understand and are not interested to understand. But it's happening. So we need it. See, okay, my whole life, in my whole life, it's only one movie that has really moved me. And it has moved me so much because I've always had the suspicion that we as Africans, our ancestors began this with technological research and improvement and analysis and inventions and all of that. Wakanda, the movie Wakanda has sparked such, interest movements across the continent that I think Wakanda is one of those things that can change history. Like history is moving in this direction, and then something significant happened that hit it off course, and turned it to a different direction, to a different dimension, to a different way of existence. And that is what Wakanda did. Look, Africa, we must rise. But you and I will be very, very, excuse me to use this word, foolish to think that we can use the ways of our ancestors that existed way back there to rise to the top and to stay. It's not about rising to the top, it's about staying, being able to stay at the top. And what we need to stay at the top is to start teaching our young ones how to create. It's to start giving our young ones tasks that requires them to do research. It's to start using simple, tiny home knowledge to start like teaching our young ones how to take research importantly. Look, my brothers, like yeah, Clarence, yeah, Kylie, she's like a ball of fire. I mean, she look at her. First of all, she got me to cut off all her hair because she didn't want to be bothered, you know. And she's a strong, beautiful young lady. So, but we'll talk about her as another day. But like, I'm so into this because, look, we have to start teaching our children. The awakening is happening. Brothers and sisters in the diaspora are coming back home, to visit Ghana and to be a part of the, reconnection. And that is what this channel is for, the reconnection. But we must also have a purpose for this reconnection. As the president of Ghana said, never again are we going to allow a race of people with superior technology to come and take us, into slavery, or to take the things that are important to us and to turn it around and make it their own and make us look like we don't mean anything, like we are up to no good. Never again should we allow that. And how it's good to talk about, have catch these feelings and then just say that never again. But how? My brothers, how? The only way we can do this is to start paying critical attention to technology, the kind of things that you can do. Do you know how simple and how easy it is to actually make a light bulb, come to life with electricity? How many of our kids in all our schools can create electricity using the most basic tools? How many? Yeah, they want us to stay drunk in our spiritual awakening, and that I'm this and I'm that and I'm the follower of this and I'm the descendant of the. Yes, it is important for us to know who we are, but it is also important for us to identify the times that we're in. It's important for us to identify the times that look. I'm talking with a passion this afternoon because I think it's very important. It is key. So if you look at how they pillaged this continent, took our strong and smart and most intelligent people, and then turned them into slaves. You see, they took our strongest, our most intelligent people, and then enslaved them. And when you see people take your smart and most intelligent tools, the most intelligent people in your race, and don't use that intelligence for anything that empowers them, but to the only thing they use them for, the only things that makes promotes their culture, promotes who they are, by making you work for free and intimidating you and basically turning you into property. And they took the strongest, most intelligent people, men and women, from Africa. and turn them into slaves. Please, people, like, we have to wake up to the times. We you know what? Yes, we are spiritual, we are strong, and we're powerful, but we have to realize that staying connected to our ancestors, being powerful and being strong, means technological revelation. It means technological advancement in a way that when they threaten us, we threaten twice back. We have to be in a place where when we decide to protect ourselves, we protect ourselves through technology in any way possible. Do you know how advanced the West is? Like, do you even know that most of the technology we're seeing today and thinking is new technology is actually outmoded? Do you know the kind of firepower in terms of technology the West have? Why do you think millions and millions and millions of dollars have been put together to advance space studies, invention, to understand the elements that form this universe? Because you know what, even their Bible that brought religion, the Christian religion, to Africa, says that in all thy getting, get understanding. I'm like, I'm into it this afternoon. Like, I'm tuned. I'm tuned. In their own Bible, it says that, you know, even studying their Christianity, it says that show thyself as a workman that needs not be ashamed, but dividing the word of truth. What is that? Dividing, understanding, dissecting. So we must understand the times we are in. When we're talking about Wake Up Africa, like, this is the Woke Africa show. And what are we talking about? That we must understand the times that we're in. Without technological advancement, we can sing Kumbaya and we can pour as much libation as possible. Yes, we will have that spiritual reconnection, that spiritual reawakening. But is that what is ruling the world today? Is that what it takes to overcome our oppressors today? Is that what it takes to protect our young ones? Is that what it takes to identify and find out new planets that we can send our races to? Because when push comes to shove and there's an asteroid coming to kill us down here, the white man is looking for a place to take his people. But what are we doing, Africa? We're singing Kubaya. Our people are not even having enough electricity, enough food to eat. And we say, look, my brothers and sisters in the diaspora, if you're online right now, I want you to share this stream. I want to see that. If you do share, I'll see people watching. I'll see our numbers will go up. You have to like, we have to help each other get this news out there, because we need to talk about it. Look, when push comes to shove, they're doing all this scientific research, and we're sitting here improving our skills, our art. Yes, those are good too. Our skills and our art are good, but we need to give, like, strong attention to scientific research. We need to give strong attention to that aspect. I would like to know what you think. Do you think I'm catching too much feelings or what? Do you think this is a conversation that needs to be had? Do you know that the inventor of fiber optics is actually a Ghanaian? Do you know the first computers, the word computers, the first computers were African American women? Thank you, Clarence. Do you know the drink that we so enjoy, Jack Daniels, was actually the recipe of that drink was actually taken from an African slave? Do you know that do you know that African American women were used as guinea pigs for scientific research into C-sections and all kinds of research about women and their reproductive system and all of that? For how long are we going to sit down and allow people to use us for their scientific research? For how long are we going to sit down and allow ourselves to be part of the statistics? I always tell you, my subscribers, you have to help me reach our community, because at first I used to think, oh, I'm just doing my thing and I'm okay with it. I mean, people can subscribe, but it's just something I'm doing. But I realized that the reason why this is important to our community is that sometimes the conversation we are having is tilted towards one way. Yes, this is the year of return. And I love to ask our brothers and sisters to come home, because yes, the truth is the love is genuine, and the love is like is there, like the spiritual connection, like is there. But my daughter should also not come up and be a procurement specialist like me. My daughter should come up and be an engineer. She should come up and be of a scientific background, because that's what I want for my child. I want her to be part of the future, and the future is science. What kind of equipment do we manufacture in Africa? If I take Kantanka automobile and I take a few Nigerian young men who are coming up with electrical inventions, and if I take well, Ethiopia just launched a satellite, but Ghana also just launched one last year. And I take, like, it's like you can just pinpoint, like you can just dot them out. But that shouldn't be, because I'm telling you, if Africa can rise up and start hosting technology fairs and introducing our young children to science, whew, that is when we can talk about true reawakening. Do you know, sometimes not sometimes, it has been put in our heads that mathematics is the most difficult subject. When I was going to high school, I don't know, Abdul Majid, if you're watching this, how was maths in your high school? Because I am I'm a living example. In my high school, mathematics was the most difficult. It was the most difficult subject. I still don't understand why. And true to the fact, I made sure it was the most difficult subject for me, because I didn't like to study it because it was the most difficult subject and I don't understand. So I think that, the universe is ruled by mathematics. All the laws of the universe is based on mathematics. Encounter in Akan, mathematics is named, it's called Encountabu. So mathematics has always been the bane of our existence and the supporter of our existence. So what is going to kill us and what is going to save us is mathematics. Yes. Let me read the comments. Abdul Majid said, "Yes, mathematics is hard, my sister. Mathematics really is, Abdul, is the easiest amongst all the subjects, because mathematics is about sequence, about sequence. Sequence. It's about formulas that are constant. And if you adapt and you apply, it will always work for you. Mathematics is constant. You can work it 1,000 ways and you would still arrive at the same constant answer. Only if it's truth about the laws of nature. So Ghana has introduced UC Maths. Is some form of mathematics, program that is trying to make children smarter in the areas of mathematics, to get them more interested and to try and say, you see, it's just about the deconscientizing of our minds, because I was told when I started secondary school, high school, mathematics was my favorite subject, and then I keep hearing how difficult it was from my colleagues, my friends, and people just say it without even knowing that we are programming ourselves to say mathematics is difficult. And we're putting mathematics to the few and saying that, oh, this person is intelligent because he can work mathematics, and in our schools, there's just a few. But you know what? If the situation, or if we ever thought that mathematics, or if we ever said mathematics was the easiest subject in our schools, that was what would have stuck. Do you know the kind of things that people did in the 14th, 15th century, for religion and other cults and other things, like the sacrifices they made, and they did it with ease because that was the way. Things so difficult you wouldn't even think of doing today, but that was the way. And that was what was drummed into the brain at the time, that this is the only way. So people did it anyway. The brain would just have to accept that it's easy. Mathematics, science, engineering, management, it's easy. We have to start, telling our kids that this is the future. We have to start getting them interested. Scientific research, abba. You know what? I promise everyone, all my subscribers, and if you're not a subscriber, you're just coming to see me, I'm telling you that someday, if my channel grows and it gets to a point where I can make any amount of money, I am going to put some such substantial part of it towards scientific engagement with children. Because our children, look, girls from Ghana, science groups from Ghana won the International Robotics Competition 2019. They stood with countries around the world, and they won. Ghana. But when they won, it only trended for that 1 hour. It only trended for that 1 hour. And why is that? Our narrative is not controlled by us. And why is that? We don't own scientific advancement. We don't own what the science is for us to be able to communicate our issues in the physical. On the spiritual, we're expert. So before Africa can rise, scientific research and advancement, please. Let me read a few smart comments from our viewers. Clarence says, the people of Ghana should voice their interest to the president and education department of Ghana. You know what? I have a lot of respect. I'm not a political person. If you're watching this and you are into politics and you don't like the current government, I understand that you would have reservation with what I'm going to say. But the fact that education is free, high school education is free for now, should allow every African or Ghanaian parents, let me say Ghana, because I don't know much about the educational system about other African countries, but it should allow every Ghanaian parent to think about using that extra cash that they have in their pockets to try to get their children, to participate in scientific activities. My brothers and sisters, like, do you know that if you can stick some nails and some conductors and some wires into a common potato, it would generate enough electricity to light a bulb? That is how much energy is accessible to us. That's how much energy nature has put, into thin air, into the food, everything, into our very nature. We must not say that we don't know. We must not say that we don't have the technology. Jesus, do you even know that there are some genes or some chromosomes or something in your DNA that, as they shorten, you get old, and as they lengthen, you get younger? Do you even know that because of scientific research, CRISPR is now allowing DNA editing? Do you know that our DNAs can be edited now? But by the time that technology will reach Africa to help cure our people of all the disease we are infected with, well, guess what? The target is our strong and most intelligent, people. So are we going to sit there and sing Kumbaya? And to all those Africans who think, you know, we'll talk about religion and the mental prison, religion as a mental prison for the people of Africa. And I know I'm going to get beaten for that because there's so many people. Look, it's December 31st is just on the way. And I will tell you that 90% of the people in this country will be in church, asking the white man's God, the strange God, to push them into the 2020, coming 2020. Do you know that people have argued with me here in Ghana, talking about the fact that no, Christianity has never played any part in the slave trade. It's just evil people who took it and used it against us. Christianity is good and all of that. Really? Evil people took it and used it against us. If you go into the Bible, it says that we Black people are Gentiles. We are not even part of the Abrahamic promise. So the God we are serving gave us the grace to belong, and to even to be able to access that grace, you must still bow down to a savior of their image and accept him wholeheartedly before you can even get the spiritual salvation. And this is the Kool-Aid that we're so drunk on. And if you talk about it, they'll label you Antichrist. They'll label you that you're the devil. Like, they will invoke whatever. Look, I'm not here to talk down about anybody's religion, but I'm here to tell you the truth. Do you know that within the same dungeons, I've ceased myself from calling those slave dungeons castles, because that's what they were designed to do, dungeons. Do you know that right beneath the punishment dungeon was a church? And do you know that whilst the enslaved Africans were waiting for their verdict in those dungeons, they were listening to them worship their white God, their Christian God, who was in their image, empowering them and demeaning us because we had to forgo ourselves of who we are and follow this God that has nothing to do with us. Whilst they were in those dungeons, sleeping in their feces, in their vomits and sweats, sleeping in the stench of human excreta, the women getting raped and dumped right back into the dungeons, whilst they were there, reeling, grinding, and reeling in this pain of affliction and oppression. And these dungeons were constructed with concrete to ensure that nobody can escape. And if you dared to escape, such a lesson will be taught to the whole entire captives that not even your great grandmother would even think about escaping. Did you know that whilst our people were still in those dungeons, there was church service going on right on top of them? And we sit here and go and fill these auditoriums and cry to the same God that they used, the same God that they used to enslave us, the same Bible that they took their strength from, because we were not part of the Abrahamic promise, Abrahamic, promise, the promise given to the Jews. We were not part, we were Gentiles. So it gave them the room to treat us the way they wanted. There was a church right on top of atrocity. There was a church. There was religion wrapped around, pillaging a continent of its, most valuable resource, the strongest, most intelligent of them. As they were killed, and when there was no food, they would kill the people and just chain them and drop them into the ocean, because there was no food to feed them, and they didn't want to smell the stench of their corpses. Sick people were just dragged and dropped into the ocean. I'm not here to preach hate against anybody. That's not what I'm doing, but we must talk about the facts. We must talk about the facts. And the facts still remain that we are trying. Kylie, what happened to my car? Okay, sorry. So it's like we have to realize that those we reconnecting to the continent is so important, because you know what, this is where we have the freedom to, they would attack us. I'm sure they're even watching this, but that wouldn't stop us, that shouldn't stop us. you know People are saying that, okay, and to conclude that, so that that is important for us to realize the times that we're in, and give our children the necessary tools they need to change the future. Because if we don't give the necessary tools our kids need to change the future, 100 and 1,000 years will come and we'll still be at the bottom of the food chain, and would still be complaining about how the white man did us bad. But that story must change, brothers and sisters. You know that story must change. That story must change. Please share this video. If you don't share anything at all on my page, just this video, please keep sharing, keep sharing, keep sharing. Because if we can stand up and talk about our realities like this, then I think there's hope. There's a pathway for us. I'll read a few of the comments and then we would continue. Okay, so Karen says, introduce your child to mathematics and science at an early age. Exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. Let's build robotic institutions and learning institutions in our communities. Um, and then he continues to say, make mathematics fun to increase awareness and science interest. Fantastic. Africa must break the clutches of the colonial control. Very important. Very important. Now, the clutches is mental. The clutches is in the brain. Because you know what? How many of us even know that our brain actually emits signals and interacts with the universe? Yes, our brains does. They emit signals and interact with the universe. So sometimes, they figured this out. Why do you think they keep bringing out these horror movies and emotional movies and all of that? Do you know how much trouble you're reeling in for yourself every time you are in fear of something? Let's go on. I don't want to get into the emotional stuff because, like, I'm late this afternoon, you know. Okay, he continues to say Africa must break the clutches of the colonial control. The government here in America controls education department system. The system. The federal government funds the education system in America. The Catholic Church was behind slavery. Yes, but you see, the Catholic Church was behind it because the Catholic Church in itself is a system that has empowered the West. And you know what? They always say, oh, well, even currently, you hear Trump and Trudeau are like, not in a good relationship, not in good terms, but they never accept any terms that will go and hurt their people in the long run. No, so they are still united. They are still united in one thing. The papal system is still in place, is still enforced, and is still collecting huge sums of monies from African countries and other parts of the world and, storing in that Vatican and giving it as support to the West. Allegedly. Allegedly. Woo! Allegedly. Okay. Let me read a few comments. Yeah, so Clarence, thank you so much for your contributions. Like, you're making this interesting. Says that Yehusha is black. Okay. Um the name Jesus is Greek for Yehusha. Okay. The white man whitewashed the Bible. Moses, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are blacks. So this is Clarence, what you're saying is still feeding into the narrative that blacks in the diaspora are descendants of Jews. We ain't Jews. We ain't Jews. Well, some of us might have migrated towards that side, and some of them became the pharaohs and became the rulers, but we are from the motherland. This is where life began. So even if you're thinking that you are black Jews or you are an African Jew or a black Jew, your source, your root, your spiritual re-liberation, your spiritual reconnection is to the motherland. It's to the continent. I keep saying we are soil. We are soil, our skin. I love to go to outside once in a while, talk to my ancestors, and then I like to take the soil and just smear on my skin as a resemblance of my connection to the earth as an African, as a melanated person. So it's good to have the belief and the findings that some of our ancestors migrated over there and they lived in the land. And this could be true because if you look at when Abraham and his people left his family home and they trekked to the land, there were people still living on the land. There were people who were already occupying the land. I don't remember. I think it was Joshua. Joshua was the prophet that led the Israelites to their promised land after they had been enslaved by Egypt for 200 years or 400 years or so. And when they were led out of Egypt, the land that they were supposed to occupy for their freedom were already occupied by people they refer to as giants. So this white-skinned Jews I don't want to get into that because what I know is Africa. What I know is my melanin and it's popping, you know. But as we're getting woke and getting liberated, I'm sure some of these truths will come out. And I'm not saying that we should downplay some of these truths, but it will come out. It will come up certainly at a point. It will come up certainly at a point of really who we Africans are. I'll go to the comments and see what they have going there. So hey, if you're watching, you can let us have your view. Clarence and I, because Clarence is quite active, and I thank you so much. I'm grateful that you're such a faithful contributor of this channel. I still haven't figured it out. I'm still trying to find the best way to communicate with my brothers and sisters in the diaspora. It hasn't been easy. Channels like mine don't get it easy. We have to put in the hard work. We have to put in manual work because our channels don't get suggested. If I look at my analytics, I think it's just 9% of clicks are from suggestions or recommendation. And YouTube is always recommending this or on videos that you're not interested. They're recommending it for you just because you clicked on something. Just 9% of my traffic comes from recommendation. So channels like ours, we have to work hard and we have to push because that's what we're doing. So I think this conversation, Clarence is the co-host today. Thank you. So let me just continue to read a bit of what Clarence is saying. He says that the name Jesus is Greek for Yehusha. Clarence says the white man whitewashed the Bible. Moses, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are black. Samson and King David are black. Judah is black. Okay, so he brings the verses. That's Jeremiah 14 verse 2. That's saying Judah is black. Jeremiah 8:21. Job 30:30. Saying something about my skin is black. And Clarence says blacks in the Bible are Hebrews, not Jews. Okay. And then he says the white people in Israel are converts of the biblical Hebrew people. Oh, really? Okay. That's information. I didn't know this. And he goes on to say, when the 12 tribes were scattered, some of them fled into West Africa. Well, but you see, if you look at the demographics, that is where I have my challenge. We were not Hebrews first and became Africans second. This land has been lived, if you look, centuries. If you go into history, if you go into the archives, you know, about the dynasties, the African dynasties, way before the slave trade and before everything happened, the if you look at how the color or the complexion keeps going upwards. So you take the west of Africa, the southern Sahara, and all of that, middle Eastern Africa. You see the concentration of the black skin is within the land. We the land, it was never called Africa. Africa is a word that they gave us. Africa is a name that they chose to call us. I'm sure when they came at first, we told them who we were, and they couldn't say it, so they came up with Africa or something. So, okay, Clarence, I'll come to what you're saying because I'm sure there will be some revelations within that. But if you see the concentration, I'm talking about like the scientific facts, the facts that you can see and analyze with your eyes and your mind. You see that the concentration of us is very much close to the magnet of nature, like we're there. Then you see there's fingers of the spreading out, the fingers of the spreading out to other parts of the world. So you see, like going to Ethiopia, to the southern part of the continent, they're a bit lighter. In the Sudan, in Ethiopia, in Madagascar, in the Horn of Africa. See, in those areas, they're a bit lighter skinned. Now, spreading up to the north of Africa, you realize that because some of the core broke into pieces and started to spread. And if I say the core, I mean the African origin, part of the origin, the indigenous started to break and migrate. For example, if you have a ball of soap and you put it in a bowl of water and it starts to melt away, you would see that the concentration of the soap is within the middle where you put the soap, because it's not finished melting away, but you find lighter, you know, lighter constitution of the soap in the outer or in the outskirts. You know, you find lighter consistencies in the outset because it's spreading out. So if you look at from within Africa and going all the way to, let's say, to the Middle East, to coming all the way to the Scandinavia, to the all those areas that originally were inhabited by the lighter skinned people, you realize wherever it's dimming, it is a break away from the continent. So um I'm still waiting to have more proof that we actually originated from the Middle East, where you find Israel and the Hebrews and all of that. So Clarence, I still need to do more research on that, because nothing right now, with everything I know, tells me that we originated from Israel. No, I think that some of us migrated there into these areas and established, and history took its natural course. Okay, so Clarence, I'm reading more of what you're posting. It says The white people in Israel are converts of the biblical Hebrew people. Okay. When the 12 tribes were scattered, some of them fled into West Africa. Okay. Well, so can you give me references to these, uh, um, books? I would like to find out. And some of the 12 tribes are still in Africa. The Igbo people are of the Hebrew tribe. Clarence, really? Okay. Noel had 3 sons. The true name for Africa is in the Bible. Look, Clarence, I'm not really a fan of the Bible. Really, I'm not. Because this is the book that has led us so much astray from who we are, our history. It has helped the West to kind of like change our mindset about who we are and going back to our ancestors, staying close knit, united and connected. How am I supposed to like believe anything they say? I'd rather believe some history book. And I live in Africa and I'm saying these things and I can even get like, my friends can look at me with the tip of their eyes and say she's gone. Well, Clarence says the Bible is the book of black people. That may be true. That may be true, but the current Bible we have is not a book that promotes the interest of any black people. It obscures our existence. It excludes us, our existence. And this is someone I've been a Christian for like the best part of my life. I've been evangelist, so I've read the Bible to the best of my knowledge. How to convince somebody to become a Christian and get baptized. That's been my expertise. And in all my years of reading the Bible, most of the parts that I come to gives me a choke in the neck. Especially when we are referred to as unclean and gentiled and all kinds of damn. I'm I'm sorry for cursing, but we have to look at this thing again because you know what? I would rather our history be rewritten going forward. Because where is the material? The material that tells us who we are. That's why I tell you, scientific research is what made us powerful in the past. And we've left that behind and we've taken religion as though religion is going to cure all our problems. I'm sorry to break it to you people, like religion is not going to cure our problems. Do you know, let me tell you, most of the chaos we face as a people, as human beings on this planet is most of the time I think, you know, the uncertainties of life, the ups and downs, it seems like it's going good, then something bumps into it and all so the that feeling that you are going on and something comes in, and that is Gaia messing with us because we're messing with it. We're sticking like all these drills into it and we're like thinking that religion, like not religion, spirituality. Thank you. I've now have the word spirituality. Spirituality and science is interconnected. Do you know that plants do feel when we cut down trees and all of that? Do you know that they feel, they actually scream? There's been scientific data. Like when you cut a tree down, it screams and wails from pain. And we sit here and we think that nature, the earth is inanimate. You know, they put it the inanimate and animate things, living and non-living things. When they say is soil a living thing, everybody will say no. Is our stones a living thing? Everybody will say no. This very earth that we stay on, this Mother Earth, is made out of stones, and it is a living thing. So Earth is kind of like interacting with us every day. It's telling us, it is giving us a feel of how her situation now. Her children has been displaced. Her life force is being extracted left, right, center. What makes it whole is being taken away. We're like the children that took everything our parents had and destroyed it. So look, we are the people of the soil. I keep saying this because we are the most in tune with nature. And when even we are agitated as a people, when we are agitated as a people, and we take our anger and our confusion to the people that are closest to us. When you've had a bad day at the office and you don't control yourself, when you come home and your wife pushes you, by an inch, you would explode because you have all this inbuilt tension. That is the relationship between Africans and nature. It's because the earth is going through all this pull and push, and it takes it out on the closest thing to it. We are similar natured. You, Debbie Chain. We are similar natured. We are similar in nature. So we need Clarence. Let me see. Clarence says the Bible is the book of black people. The white man stole our identity and the true Hebrew. Until you learn the truth about the Bible, you will not accept the truth of the truth. Yes. So then, until you know the truth, you would not know who you are. And that is what Clarence is saying. And Clarence, I understand you all right. And it's important for us to know the truth about who we are and where our beginnings are from. I also think that we should rewrite these things because it's been so mixed up. It's been so mixed up that we need to rewrite this history. And going forward, as I said, we need to involve, start making a new conversation. We need to start making a new conversation. We need to start making, a new conversation. Sorry, I need to check the comment section. Okay. So, Clarence, I would definitely look into it. Okay, I'll definitely look into it. I'll look into the identity of the Black Hebrews. I'll do a research and maybe we'll talk about it later. But now that we find out about this and we know we are these powerful people, we are the people of God and we are the chosen ones and all of that. The sad situation today is we're not. We're currently at the bottom of the food chain. So how are we going to surmount this problem? How are we going to turn it around to our good? So for me, I say that as we explore our spirituality, we should attach as much emotions and as much passion to science, just as we attach to identifying our spirituality and our connection to nature. So, Clarence, there were no religions before the black baby Jesus. The black baby Jesus. Okay, so okay, Clarence, I think I'll look into this, but for me, I'm personally, whatever they've done to that side of the religion, I'd like to leave it to them. I'd like to leave it to them personally, because I now know that I am more than they lead on. I now know that I'm not unintelligent, and my home is not diseased and is not depraved, and I now know what is going on. So I now know the direction I want to give to my descendants. And I now know that I'm never ever forcing any of my kids to go into Christianity. No. I now know that I would empower them to think for themselves, to create wealth, and to be interested in scientific advancement. But what we all know is that never again, and I retrace this, never again are we going to allow a few people to control us with their technology and enslave us and pillage us. It's still ongoing. We know that. We know your systems and your schemes are still running, but you do not know the power of a woman scorned. You don't know the power that nature will unleash, and you're about to experience it like a tsunami, like a spiritual like tsunami. So my voice, me sitting here and talking, I could have been doing anything else in this world. But I'm sitting here talking about reawakening of the African people, of the continent, reconnecting. You think it's just like that. Africa is raising her soldiers. You may be an ancient and you wouldn't even know. You may have this desire, this passion to talk about our issues, and you wouldn't even know that you're an ancient. So think about your spirituality. Think about us, who we are, what they've done with our religion or our way of life. They've done and gotten away with it. Are we diminished, or there's still more in us? If there's still more in us, I'm telling you that we should channel that energy through scientific research. One, to protect our children. Two, to advance our cause. Three, to empower us. Not because we want to hurt anybody, but it's because we will not stand for the aggression of the oppressor anymore. Ah, Clarence, you're amazing. I'm going to look into this. If you want to reconnect yourself with nature, you never have to you know do away with knowledge, because knowledge is what will help you be able to reconnect and attain your reconnection in a way that empowers you. So I'm going to look into this Hebrew, Black Hebrew story, research it a little bit and find out what is there, and we will get talking again. So thank you very much for staying tuned to my channel, and I'm really grateful to have you here every time that I'm online. Take care of yourself. A new year is coming. You need to stay connected to to your spiritual roots. You need to open your antennas for direction, spiritual direction, for prosperity, for good health, and for good fortune. So stay connected, subscribe, and share this video. Share my channel, and I think that we'll meet on live stream several times before the end of the year. Thank you for liking my video. And Clarence, thank you so much. Abdul Majid, thank you so much for always being here. Let's keep the conversation going, and I'm sure a lot of people will learn a lot from who we are. But my message is simple: we can only look forward, because when we look back, it's so good, we may end up staying in it whilst everybody else moves and leaves us back there. So thank you, bless you, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers, bye.